Jason. Today's episode of the Lee Summit Town Hall podcast is brought to the good people by Budget Blinds of Lee Summit.
Budget Blinds!
Jason, did you know that Budget Blinds is the place for people to go to for the signature series shades?
All hail our robot shade overlords.
Look, there are many, many reasons why you should start looking at the smart home features, but mostly because it's cool.
I gotta say, look, I recently got a somewhat smart home thing in my house, and I was highly skeptical, like in the process, and have delayed and kind of acted like the technology phobic old man that I'm probably getting closer to being every day. But I gotta say, this smart home stuff is pretty cool. It's pretty cool. And I gotta say, the ability to raise and lower, open and close, program your shades to do that stuff, to save energy, to increase the security in your home, to do all the things you want to do.
Make things safer for your children and pets.
Right. Absolutely fantastic as an idea. I get it. I get it now in a way that I didn't get it before. So I'm going to say this with all sincerity. All hail those robot shade overlords.
There you go. So if you are ready to make your home a smart home, head on over to our good friends, Budget Blinds of Lee Summit, right in downtown, the heart of our community. Today's episode is also brought to you by Feed Lee Summit. Hey, Jason, pre-COVID world, 6 to 8% of Lee Summit residents were food insecure.
I thought that world started on March 15th.
Well, you know.
No, the world ended on March 15th, and we're now picking up the pieces.
Right. Well, that's 6 to 8%. That equates to more than 6,000 men, women, and children in the Lee Summit community. And in this COVID pandemic area, the food needs have only continued to grow for Lee Summit families and senior citizens.
That is true. Responding to this need are the good folks at Sunrise Rotary. They are sponsoring their second annual Feed Lee Summit event, November 12th at 7 p.m. It's going to be a virtual event this year because COVID ruins everything, but it's going to be a great event anyway. They have a goal this year. It's a very aggressive goal of raising $100,000 to support those with food insecurity here in Lee Summit. And they think they can do this aggressive goal with your support.
And who will this benefit, you might ask? Let me tell you, it's going to benefit
the
big four: Lee Summit Social Services, Coldwater of Lee Summit, One Good Meal, and Meals on Wheels.
You got it. Feed Lee Summit started as empty bowls, which collected more than $250,000 over its years for our non-profit food providers here in the Lee Summit community. Last year, Feed Lee Summit, a little bit of a change in how it was structured and what it was doing. Their first event raised $40,000. So they're setting the bar high this year, but we think we can get there.
And they can meet that goal with your help. So join us for this important event on Thursday, November 12th. See feedls.org for more details and to register.
Hello again, and welcome to Lee Summit Town Hall, a weekly podcast about what you can do to make a difference. I'm Jason Norbury, and as always, I am joined by a man who throws podcast segues around like Pat Mahomes. It's Nick Parker, the publisher of Link to Lee Summit.
That is inaccurate, unlike Patrick Mahomes. That is inaccurate.
Most of your segues are like, oh, overthrew it, right to the ground. There they go. That's like past chief quarterbacks, not this
Right, yeah.
All right. Link to Lee Summit is, as always, the source for all the news you need about our very fine city. And our unofficial sponsor today is the stress insomnia vortex, into which, sadly, I am currently falling. So,
and apparently
it's been a hard week.
It's affected your ability to say complete sentences.
Yeah, we'll blame that.
Hey, Jason. Light week. There's not a ton going on. So instead of really stretching out topics that are happening around town into bigger things than they need to be, I thought we'd do what we used to do, and we'd go talk to somebody from the community and catch up on some things that are going on and maybe pass a little information. We brought back for his second appearance, Seth Moses, branch manager and librarian from the local Mid-Continent Public Library. He's going to tell us a little bit about the new East Branch over off the highway, and when to expect some of the other construction projects to finish. And we'll just chat a little bit about reading. And are you ready for this, Jason? It's National Library Card Sign-Up Month, so he's going to tell you how to sign up for your library card if you don't have one.
As it turns out, it's really easy to do it.
It's super easy.
So there you are. All right. Well, with that, we're going to go to our interview with Seth Moses. We are here with Seth Moses, the branch manager for the East Lee Summit branch of the Mid-Continent Public Library. Seth, how are you today?
I'm doing good. How are you guys?
We are awesome. It is great to be able to talk to you again.
I'm excited. This is my first view inside the new branch. Right there,
Although
your office.
It's not
Very
exactly the most exciting view of like white walls and a brown door, but hey, we're not allowed to go touch the books yet, so I suppose don't tease us with them. That's
is this the first video tour of the new branch?
Publicly, I'd say yeah.
It's a very short tour. Here's a wall with some stuff on it, and there's a door.
A link to Lee Summit exclusive video, folks.
Exclusive video. You'll see inside the library.
Welcome, Seth. Welcome back.
Thank you.
This is visit number 2.
Yeah.
Yes. So it's been a bit. We had you on, I think, early on in our show's history, and here we brought you back. So we wanted to check in because, like, the library is obviously something that is has been impacted by COVID, which has ruined everything.
Yes.
And you guys were like fully closed for a while, and then only open for drive up, drop off, hold service there. Where are you? What does the library look like today?
Ooh, that's a great question. It was really interesting for me and my team because this whole thing kind of came to a head when right in the middle of us packing up Colbern to kind of move things over here. And so we wrapped that up, and then we were closed for a couple months until we sort of had enough information to reopen things safely. And what that looks like for us is we've started to focus on a couple of key services and rolling those back out in a sort of high quality service mindset. And then we wanted to focus on some of the services that were going to be very relevant in this new environment that's presented to us now. So we're doing curbside and drive-through. The East Lee Summit branch has a drive-up window, which is great. A lot of fun to work at.
I've never seen a drive-through at a library before. That's exciting.
Oh, yeah. It is. It's I wish we had an intercom and you pulled up and it'd be like, "Welcome to the library. How can I take your order?"
I'd like to
so you
and a side of fries.
we keep it simple. You pull up to the window. We have you verify your name. We grab your stuff and off you go. People can still give us a call. Like if you're like, man, I just really want to browse books. We've got the books closed off still. But one thing that librarians love to do and really excel at is helping people find stuff to read. So we're happy to have a phone conversation with you about like, what sort of stuff do you like? And from there, we'll find a handful of things that you can come pick up and try out. And the great thing about that is if you hate them, you can call me back and be like, these were terrible. You did terrible.
That's something I never think about because I do go through that every once in a while where I like to read series usually, and then I'll finish a series. I'm like, wow, what am I going to do next? And I never think to just, go grab the librarian and hey, I like these kind of things. Help me find something.
Oh yeah. We love to do that. It's kind of a really rewarding interaction in that, you open somebody up to new things to read, or experience even. And we love the feedback too, because whether it's like, these were no good for me, or, hey, these were perfect, what else you got? It gives us something else to kind of go on. Inside the building right now, anybody is more than welcome to come in. We're focused on sort of technology services right now, computer access, printing, with the idea that those things are going to be needed for people to try to find work in the wake of the pandemic. But at times there's not a lot of people in here. We have the capacity to help you with stuff in person too. So you could come by and be like, I need books. And we're more than happy to pull some stuff off the shelf for you too.
Have you noticed an increase in traffic for the computers and the technology stuff? Is that something you've seen more of? Like you said, as people are affected by the pandemic and that the job market is crazy right now. Have you seen an increase in that use?
I'll say this: there's a definite demand for it. We do see people come in, use the computers, and I mean that's what they're doing. They're trying to take care of some kind of personal business, or they're applying for work, trying to get a job. I wouldn't say it's increased. I think a lot of people, especially with this Eastleigh Summit branch, a lot of folks might not even be aware that we're open right now. We didn't get to do kind of our thing where we do our big grand opening.
Right.
So and I think too, I think a lot of people might still be kind of staying home, staying out of public spaces for now. So we've actually seen a downturn in terms of use, but the things we are focusing on do seem to be pretty big needs right now in the community.
Is there a little bitterness on you and the staff's part about, hey, we built this awesome new thing after an election and we can't brag about it yet?
I wouldn't say bitter. We're all kind of really excited to be able to open this building up to everyone, including our collections, for people to kind of walk through, take a look at, browse. It's a beautiful building. It's got really wonderful landscaping, a lot of natural light inside here. We've got indoor and outdoor spaces. So on a nice fall day, you can kind of hang out on the patio, read for a little bit. We've got meeting rooms and study rooms too, which we can't make available, which is something, being over at Colbern, something the community definitely needed too.
Amen to that.
We see a lot of.
So Seth,
Yeah.
how can they tell that the building is a library? That's a very important.
Well, our hope is if you've driven down 50 Highway lately, over on the southeast side of town, over by Lee Summit Medical Center, you may have noticed our building has the word library in giant 10-foot letters on the south side of the building.
It is very noticeable especially when you drive by at night. It has its lights on and it's glowing, and you're like, it's library, it jumps right out at you as you drive by.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the changing in branches. Obviously, a couple of years ago, we voted for the increase in the library levy with the eye toward significant rehabbing and expanding of library services and access throughout the whole service area, which covers a lot of space. But focusing in on Lee Summit, you talked about it already a little bit. The Colbern branch, which you were the branch manager for. I guess it might technically still be the branch manager for, just it's not a branch at the moment, has closed. The East branch is open. So and obviously ballpark construction timelines, winter weather, yada, yada.
COVID.
When are we aiming at COVID? When are we aiming at the Colbern branch reopening, and then where are we going from there?
We're looking for the construction on Colbern to be finished in the spring of this next year of 2021, and then reopen sometime shortly after that. So it's a pretty short turnaround from where we are right now. A year definitely seemed like a longer amount of time back in March, but yeah,
well, now March seems like 15 years ago. So.
Or yesterday. I don't know which.
Time has done funny things. If you've driven by Colbern lately, you'll notice it's starting to look like a building again.
Yes, it is. I'm watching it very, very closely as I commute to and from work on a regular basis. I keep track of what's going on today. Yes, so I'm very, very excited about that one being my home branch. Okay, so then when that one opens, we're not done here in Lee Summit with library changes, correct?
That's correct. We're not fully done. So the first step was to open this new branch, Eastleigh Summit, so that when we were doing renovations at our other two locations, here in town, we wouldn't have to go down to one point of service. The two branches here in Lee Summit, out of all 32 of Mid-Continent Public Library's locations, are typically the busiest. And so trying to funnel that down to one point of service was going to be more than likely really frustrating for both our customers and our staff. And so we wanted to do everything we could to make sure that we weren't putting a whole lot of traffic on one location. So we build the new branch here. The next step is to completely overhaul Colbern, which we're in the middle of. And once that's finished, the Lee Summit branch over on Oldham Parkway will be renovated as well.
So that's like 5 years of library work. I mean, that we're talking about over this period of time. Build the new one, rehab actually tear down and rebuild the Colbern branch, and then a remodel. We're not talking about a tear down and rebuild of the Lee Summit branch, are we? Or are we just looking at the current remodel plan?
So to be honest, the decisions around that haven't totally been made yet. We're still kind of exploring options and what that might look like. Like with Colbern, the decision to raise the old building and rebuild a new was based on a number of factors, and one of those was cost. So we kind of did a little calculus with our contractors, and sort of the price of a major renovation of the existing building would have only been about $200,000 cheaper than a tear down and complete rebuild. And one thing that they've sort of stressed on us is that when you get into a renovation of an existing space, it's there's some costs that you're going to run into that you didn't anticipate. And so the overall sense of things was that the wisest course of action would be the tear down and rebuild.
Excellent.
That's a bit of a rambling explanation.
No, it's fine. No, I mean, and we actually, Nick and I talked about that because it came through Planning Commission back in the day when I was still on it, and we had talked about it on this show that was the conversation that had been there. So no, it's fine. So basically, it's TBD on what the final picture of Lee Summit branch will look like. So, which is fair.
Mm-hmm.
Aside from the construction and the renovation stuff, and you said we still can't go in and pull books off the shelves ourselves and stuff. What have you done with all of your programming things too, as you tried to still offer things to the community, but you're not wide open right now?
Right, and for a while there, with the restriction on like gatherings, it would have been impossible for us to run an event like what we normally would. And so for now, we've stopped all of our events, at least in our physical spaces. And in place of that, we've been trying to do more virtual events. So we've taken our story times for kids. We've moved those to a virtual environment. They get kind of broadcast on what we call the MCP 360 Facebook page. So we've got a schedule up on the website of different times where we're offering story time for kids. We've also been trying to do the occasional event outside of early literacy efforts that we make. And there's some exciting things happening there too. We in September every year we do a Veterans Salute. It's a big event for the entire Mid-Continent Public Library system. This year made that kind of difficult, and so we've moved a lot of that content online as well.
How tough of a shift was that for you to kind of and I mean you collectively to try to make all of that those things work through video?
Luckily, this is the responsibility of other better people who make it look easy, I think. So I'm sure there was a lot of logistical difficulty figuring out how is this going to work? How are we going to do this? But our folks in our community programming department, at our centralized headquarters location, I think have done a great job figuring all this out. And I should say too, like our Storytime librarians that were doing these in the building, they are actually the ones doing these virtually as well. So parts of our team here have adapted very well, I think. I've been thoroughly impressed with what we've been able to do in such a short amount of time.
You know, another thing, and I kind of wanted to get to this because it is National Sign Up for Your Library Card Month right now in September. Maybe a good idea to remind people your card is still good. There are still things you can do, even maybe you're not going into the library. So why is it important, Seth? Why should people have their card?
Well, if you ask me, of course, I'm going to say it's important.
Other than it means you're a superhero, right? It's like a superhero business card to have your library card.
I think it really depends on the individual. Like there's a lot of services your library offers, and I would even go as far to say that no matter who you are, we have something for you, right? So if you love to read, there's obviously our collection of books. If you love to read, but you're not too keen on going out right now, we've got downloadable books, and that includes audiobooks that you can listen to in the car, which I've recently taken more of a shine to than I had previously. So the pandemic has led to a lot of discoveries.
I think they're dangerous.
You don't need the distraction, right?
But I can't pay attention if I'm like trying to do it while I work or do something else. Then I'm not paying attention to the book, or I'm not paying attention to the other things I'm supposed to be doing. And then even I will say this: here's an embarrassing story. My wife and I once had an audiobook going while on a road trip. We missed 3 exits.
That's not a bad thing.
That's an ad for that audiobook. That's what that was.
Well, and I think what that tells you is the importance, if ever doing an audiobook, the importance of finding the right narrator.
Yes.
So apparently you needed a slightly lower quality one.
Right.
Where you were going.
I wish it had been read by Jason Norbury, and then I never would have missed an exit.
Yeah. Well, you might have fallen asleep instead. So the dangers would be different. So can you? All right. So you can go in the library, but do you have to in order to get a library card?
You don't. You can actually sign up online through our website, mymcpl.org. It's a fairly painless process. We ask you for some information. You fill out a little form online. We shoot you an email. You verify your email address, and then we send you a library card number. And then within a couple weeks, you'll get your physical library card in the mail.
What do you need to qualify? What says you can get an MCPL library
Natural-born
card?
citizens over the age of 35. That's it. Oh wait, no, I'm sorry. Wrong fall event. I apologize.
So you do have to. There's a couple different things. You either have to live in our service area, so our taxing jurisdiction, which covers Platte, Clay, and most of Jackson County, at least the part of Jackson County that's not covered by Kansas City Public Library. And you'd be eligible for a card. So if you live in one of those areas, you can get a card. The other thing is public libraries typically have what we call reciprocal agreements with libraries kind of nearby. So if you live in Cass County down south, we've got a reciprocal agreement with their public library. So people that live in Cass County can get a card with us. People that live here can get a Cass County public library card as well. So kind of surrounding our library district, there's a lot of those reciprocal agreements as well. And then if you don't live in Jackson, Clay, or Platte County, but you work in those counties, you can get a card for that reason too.
Awesome. Wow. Well, now it's time to put you on the spot. I already gave my embarrassing story of this episode. Seth, what are you reading?
I'm reading, and you're not putting me on the spot. I came prepared for this part. We're coming up on fall, so I've been reading a lot of spooky, kind of creepy things. Um,
I mean, are we talking like politics? Or are we talking like horror?
it's
Is
all
there a
current
difference?
events. No, it's just sort of some horror stuff. Do you want me to talk about a few of the things?
Sure.
Yes.
Cool. Well, what should we start with here? I'm going to start with this one. So this is Wonderland, and it's written by Zoya Stage. And, you know, a lot of my staff really liked her first book, which was called Baby Teeth. I could not read that one because the title sounds...
Yeah, I was already kind of put off by that.
See?
No, I
it
guess
already
if it's
sounds
going to be
creepier.
horror, creepy stuff, then starting with Baby Teeth is probably one that would do that. Yeah.
It was a little too much for me. But this one I found to be a little more accessible for my own kind of taste here. But it's about a family. They moved to a rural farmhouse in New York, and then all this creepy stuff starts to happen. So the house, the land, it starts calling to this family. The trees. It's a pretty creepy read. And if you like stuff that has like a strong sense of place, that's a little bit atmospheric, this one meets that to a T. So it's pretty creepy. If you've ever been in the woods at night, you'll recognize in this book.
And now the question is, Seth, are you going to be able to go in the woods at night in the future after reading this book?
Not at all. Luckily, all the trees here at the branch are smaller because they're new. So nothing creepy happening over here.
It's like, just walk the perimeter before you close up at night. I said, no.
Not without floodlights or the giant library sign
The
lights.
giant library sign will keep you safe.
So I also kind of dove into a couple of ebooks recently too, and to facilitate that, I've got a clipboard with pictures on it. But one of the things I read, it's called Alice Isn't Dead. So it's about a married couple, one presumed dead, been missing for a long time, but her wife spots her in the background of a news report, which sets off a chain of events, including sort of a creepy truck driving road trip with probably audiobooks and 3 missed exits. But
No, not again.
This is another one that is very creepy, very menacing, but also who doesn't like a road trip, you know?
I'm sensing a theme in your book taste.
Well, he said he was reading creepy stuff for the fall.
It's fall, and then if you're not totally exhausted by sort of the current state of the world, there's Chuck Wendig's Wanderers, which
that is on my to read list.
Well, you're in for a pretty fun read. It's actually about a pandemic. Fun.
Oh, well, okay, it was on my read
Hey.
list.
Is it also about a day that never ended?
It's a very long book, so it sometimes might feel like that for you. The plot kind of concerns, there's this pandemic. It's set kind of across the country, but a lot of it takes place in rural Pennsylvania. But all these people kind of start sleepwalking away from their families, their homes, and sort of just walking. They're non-responsive. They're kind of just walking straight ahead for miles and miles on end. It's a fun read. It's as big as the book is. It flies by. It's really fast paced, really suspenseful, and it's a very thought provoking read as well.
Now, here's my question. And Jason, you and I have talked about a lot of things, Jason, because we're pretty close friends. But I don't know if I've ever asked you this question. Seth, you just mentioned 3 books. Can you really read 3 at once? I have a hard time with multiple books, and some of that is my binge reading personality. Like if it's a good book, I just want to get through the whole story. Do you do that often? Multiple books at once?
It depends. Sometimes I do, but I think I'm a little like you too. If I get really into one book, I will I will read that kind of all the way through. Sometimes if it's something that's really heavy or really long, I have to kind of mix it up and throw some other stuff in there. But then there's also like no guarantee that I'm not going to confuse the plots of all of those.
Which is why you don't do it. I can do it. I can do like a fiction nonfiction mix.
Right. If it's nonfiction, I can pick it up, put it down, and kind of come back to it.
I'm a one fiction at a time, unless I have to take a break, like you were talking about. Like I've got to like stop and get away from it. Like I think I would have to do that with some of those creepy books you were mentioning. I might have to like go, look, I got to put that down. Couldn't read it after like 9 o'clock at night. Don't think I'd want to do that. Like that's only daytime when it's not spooky out.
No reading it while you're out in the woods.
Right. Only epic fantasy late before I go to sleep or something. So that's where we are.
Falls the time for spooky stuff.
Well, I mean, hey, look, if you were reading books about pumpkin spice, I'd be way more critical. I have to admit. So,
well, he's not a basic librarian.
Yeah.
Now, are you going to follow the seasons? So after October, are you going to shift into Christmas themed reading material?
Maybe it's hard to tell at this point. I kind of just pick whatever is interesting at the time.
Well, it's not like there's a shortage of books, so you have choices.
Right. You'll never get through everything on your to be read pile.
I would imagine that because you're a librarian, because you work with all sorts of other librarians, that the lists are never short of things I want to read or things I've been recommended to read. That there's always a list that you can go to.
Now, I've noticed this, that the MCPL website, if your account, you can put a to-read list. How long is Seth's to-read list on his MCPL account?
Oh, wow. I'm not very good at maintaining that, so it's mostly just.
Oh, it never goes away.
So right now there might be like a couple hundred things on there, but I may have read like 20 or 30 of them.
Okay, so but a pretty sizable one.
I need to go. I haven't found that list, but I usually use the Libby app. Is that on the Libby app?
So there's kind of a different thing through Libby you can do. You can make lists with Libby too, kind of separate from your library lists. We're all about options. So giving like whatever option's going to work best for them is something that we kind of strive for. So.
I have become a huge fan of that Libby app for reading since it came out. That's probably where I do 98% of my reading.
Oh, it's great. And when it came out, a lot of us got really, really excited about it. I don't know how many people remember this, but librarians remember. So when we first started doing ebooks, because of some of the licensing with publishers and just because some of the technology around it, there used to be like 12 to 20 steps that you'd have to take to download an ebook.
Right.
Libby makes that a whole lot easier. It's about 3 steps now.
Right.
It's excellent. And I would just say, I mean, I've had a couple of new books that have been out, like the day they were released, they popped into my Libby because I had put a hold on them. So the speed, not only to get the book downloaded, but to actually get the book can be pretty quick. So that was excellent.
Helpful pro tip: make sure your notifications are turned on, or it will go into your loan and you won't notice it.
Happens to the best of us.
Well, Seth, I appreciate you coming back on and chatting with us a little bit about what's happening with the libraries here in town and what all's going on, and even talking a little bit about what you're reading. Maybe I should ask Jason. Jason, what are you reading?
I am now reading the 6th book in the Spellslinger series that I found at random, and it's a great. It's essentially a Western, but set with like magic and a lot of Middle Eastern thematic elements, I guess is the best way to put it. That's where. And I just finished my reread for the first time in 30 years of Dune.
Wow.
Are you excited about the movie?
I am super. I love the director. Villeneuve is. I mean, like, I don't think you could get me excited about going to a movie theater right now, but the stuff I saw, I'm like, oh, I may have to think about going to one again here just to see that on the giant screen.
The trailer looks really good.
Yeah, it looks really good.
I just picked up a random. I'm gonna get his name wrong. Brad Meltzer. It's historical fiction.
Yeah.
He's had a couple of TV shows too. I actually it was one of the suggested from the homepage on the Libby app, and I just went, okay. I'm only like,
Does that count as a librarian suggestion, or is that algorithm?
I
That's
don't
what
know.
wanna Is there like a librarian in there that's like picking books for people and throwing around?
There's
Gotta
a
be an
couple.
algorithm.
Yeah. So
They're better algorithms than the ones we get on the computers, I'm sure.
yeah, we do some recommendations and lists through Libby. In fact, quite a bit. And they change pretty frequently. But some of it is an algorithm too.
There was a historical fiction section, and I had read one or two of his books before, and so I said, okay, I'll do a new one. And so far it's pretty good. It's interesting.
Cool.
Well, awesome. Seth, thank you very much. Thanks again for stepping in with us and taking a little bit of time out of your day and giving us the view of two walls at the new East Branch.
Yes, a link, at least I'm a town hall exclusive of 2 walls and a painting.
So when we're open for realsies, we're gonna come out with a camera and we'll have you give us a real tour of the new place.
Please do, anytime. And you're all welcome to come by now. There's just a lot of caution tape up.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to take pictures of caution tape. That seems weird.
I don't know that I could hold back and not go touch all of the books.
There's that too.
Yeah. So, all right. Thank you very much, Seth. That'll wrap us up for this week. We'll talk to everybody next time.